The luxury car dealership's waiting room fell silent. A man in an expensive suit sneered at the mechanic walking past, grease stains covering his work clothes. "Look at this guy," he muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. "Probably can't even afford to change the oil on these cars, let alone own one." But what happened next left everyone speechless. What city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe and follow for more stories about extraordinary people. Asterisk. It was a typical Saturday morning at Preston Automotive, one of the most prestigious dealerships in San Diego. The waiting area gleamed with marble floors and leather couches, filled with well-dressed clients waiting for their high-end vehicles to be serviced. Marcus Chen had been working on a particularly difficult transmission issue all morning. The 52-year-old mechanic was one of the best in the business, but you wouldn't know it from looking at him right then. His blue work coveralls were streaked with grease. His hands were dirty despite the gloves. And exhaustion showed on his weathered face. As Marcus walked through the waiting area to grab a part from the front desk, he noticed the room was more crowded than usual. A man in a tailored navy suit, probably in his mid-30s, sat with his legs crossed, scrolling through his phone. His leather shoes alone probably cost more than Marcus made in a week. The man, whose name tag from a nearby tech conference read Brandon Shaw, CEO, looked up as Marcus passed. His lip curled in disgust. "Unbelievable," Brandon said to the woman next to him, not bothering to lower his voice. "They let these people walk through here looking like that? This is supposed to be a premium establishment." Marcus had heard it before. He kept walking, but Brandon wasn't finished. "Hey, buddy," he called out. "There's a staff entrance in the back. Customers shouldn't have to see this." A few people shifted uncomfortably. One woman looked down at her magazine. Another man cleared his throat awkwardly. Marcus turned slowly. "I apologize for the inconvenience, sir. I'm just getting a part to finish a job." "Yeah, well, maybe invest in a shower," Brandon smirked. "You're making the whole place look cheap." The room temperature seemed to drop. Marcus took a breath, choosing silence over confrontation, and continued to the desktop behind Brandon. Near the window sat a man who had been quiet until now. He was in his late 40s, with close-cropped salt and pepper hair and the unmistakable bearing of someone who had spent decades in military service. He wore casual clothes, jeans, and a simple button-down shirt, but there was an intensity in his eyes as he watched the scene unfold. This was Commander James Sullivan, retired Navy SEAL, though no one in the room knew it yet. Marcus got his part and started walking back through the waiting area. Brandon couldn't resist one more jab. "Tell me something," Brandon called out. "What's it like knowing you'll never amount to anything more than getting your hands dirty for people who actually made something of themselves?" That's when Commander Sullivan stood up. The movement was swift and deliberate. He walked directly to where Marcus had stopped and did something that shocked everyone in the room. He snapped to attention and rendered a crisp military salute. "Master Chief Petty Officer Chen," Sullivan said, his voice ringing with respect and authority. "It's an honor, sir." The room went completely still. Marcus, surprised, returned the salute with the same precision. "At ease, Commander. It's been a long time since anyone's called me that." Brandon's face had gone from smug to confused. "What is this?" Sullivan turned to face him, his expression hard as steel. "This guy, as you called him, is Master Chief Marcus Chen. He served 24 years in the Navy, 16 of those as a SEAL. He's completed 6 combat deployments, saved more lives than you'll ever meet, and trained some of the finest warriors this country has ever produced." Brandon's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Sullivan continued, his voice carrying to every corner of the now silent waiting room. Master Chief Chen was awarded 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars with Valor, and a Purple Heart. He was shot twice protecting his team in Ramadi. While you were probably in college complaining about your course load, he was running operations in the most dangerous places on Earth. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Commander, you don't need to do this." "Yes, I do," Sullivan said firmly. He looked back at Brandon. After retiring, Master Chief Chen could have taken a cushy defense contractor job making six figures. Instead, he chose to work with his hands because he finds it honest and peaceful. He mentors at-risk youth on weekends and volunteers at the VA hospital every Tuesday. Brandon had turned pale. Other people in the waiting room were now looking at Marcus with entirely different eyes. One older gentleman stood up, walked over, and shook Marcus's hand without saying a word, his eyes glistening. "I'm so sorry," Brandon stammered. "I had no idea. I didn't mean to disrespect." Marcus looked at him for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was calm and measured. "You didn't disrespect me because of who I am. You disrespected me because of what you thought I was. That's the problem. You assume that someone with grease on their clothes has less value, less dignity, less worth than someone in an expensive suit." He paused, letting the words sink in. "Every person you meet is fighting battles you know nothing about. The janitor might be putting 3 kids through college. The waitress might be caring for aging parents. The mechanic might be a decorated war veteran. Or they might just be regular people trying to make an honest living. Either way, they deserve your respect." Brandon stood up, his earlier arrogance completely gone. "You're absolutely right. I was completely out of line. I judged you without knowing anything about you, and that's on me." He extended his hand. "I'm truly sorry, Master Chief." Marcus hesitated, then shook his hand. "We all make mistakes. The question is what we do after we realize it." The dealership manager had appeared during the exchange. "Master Chief Chen," he said, "having heard everything, take the rest of the day off. Paid. And Mr. Shaw," he turned to Brandon, "your service is completed. No charge. Consider it our thanks for the lesson in humility we all just received." As Marcus headed back to clean up, Commander Sullivan walked with him. "You handled that with more grace than I would have, Master Chief." Marcus smiled. "I learned a long time ago that how people treat you says more about them than it does about you. And everyone deserves a chance to be better than they were 5 minutes ago. The truth is, we live in a world that's quick to judge based on appearances, job titles, and social status. We create hierarchies in our minds about who matters and who doesn't. But real character isn't displayed in what we wear or what we drive. It's shown in how we treat people when we think no one important is watching. The next time you're tempted to judge someone by their appearance or occupation, remember Master Chief Marcus Chen. Remember that every person has a story, a struggle, and a dignity that deserves recognition. If this story touched you, give it a thumbs up. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever witnessed someone being judged unfairly? How? Did you handle it? And subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more inspirational tales that remind us of our shared humanity. Because sometimes the people we overlook are the very ones who have the most to teach us.